The Fresno Police Officers Association has a vehicle with these little paper tabs in them, and if you'd like to leave a personal message to an officer, we encourage you to do that. Go over to the FPOA area location and write a personal note thanking law enforcement for what they do, showing your support, and giving them an encouraging word. And then they're going to have a function, and they're going to hand out those notes to all the different officers. So we need each and every one of you to go out there and do a personal note to these officers, just thanking them, showing your appreciation, giving them a word of encouragement, letting them know how much we appreciate them and what they do for us, and we want them to know that. So again, Valerie, thank you very much. And now we're going to bring R.J. Coleman back up here again. Where'd he go? Here he is. And he's going to rap.
Just so nobody mistakes and you meet my wife, it's JR, just in case. I do have a twin brother, but he's not JR. So once again, some of you might not be able to go and write a letter, so do me a favor and let's just say, we support you. Just right now, we support you. 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 Thank you. Thank you. We support you. Give them a big hand. So once again, I want to thank Monica and Martha, but I also want to thank Chief Hall and some of our previous chiefs, Winchester and Dyer. We've had some great men serve our city, and we have some great officers that are still serving in every form of law enforcement. And we want to make sure that when they go home today, that they shed a tear because they know they are supported and we are holding their arms up. Can we agree on that? We support you. If you work any form of law enforcement, just raise your hand right now. If you work in law enforcement, raise your hand. Raise it high. Keep it up. Now, if somebody is standing near you with their hand up, I want you to look at them and say, I thank you. Right now, just thank them. Right where you're at, thank them for serving. So we thank all those that are serving in law enforcement now and all those from the past for the great job that they've done and the legacy they're leaving. So at this time, we're going to have some testimonials. And if you don't know what a testimonial is, maybe you don't go to church, but a testimony is you've been tested and you've been moaning. Amen. So we're going to have testimonials now. The first one is going to be from Lucy. Where's Lucy at? Can we have her come up and give her testimony? She's coming? All right. Give her a hand of encouragement. Gene, you want them using this one? Where's Gene at? Oh, it's ready. There you go. Is that good?
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Is it good?
So I'll be giving my testimony today on an event that happened to me and my family. Okay, so I just wrote something, so I'm going to go ahead and read that now. So on Mother's Day of 2018, my family's life was turned upside down because of a senseless act of violence. My father-in-law, Luis Mariscal, was shot in front of me and my family moments after wishing me a happy Mother's Day. Several Fresno Police Department officers and detectives worked on solving his shooting. 2 weeks later, after my father-in-law passed away as a result of the shooting, his case became a homicide, and 2 homicide detectives, Vic Miranda and Miguel Alvarez, were assigned the investigation. Vic and Miguel were relentless in pursuit of justice for my father-in-law. They called and texted me countless times on a daily basis. They worked hard to earn our trust, and it was apparent they would not stop until the people that killed my father-in-law were behind bars. We worked closely with them to help solve the crime. Then we got a call in the middle of the night. It was Vic. He couldn't wait to tell us the great news. They arrested the 3 men responsible for killing my father-in-law. Although it could never bring back our loved one, there was a strong sense of relief that they were finally arrested. Vic and Miguel did not stop there. They continued to be in contact with our family. They became part of our family. I would have never imagined the day that Vic and Miguel entered our lives that our views of law enforcement officers would be such positively impacted. People in general view law enforcement officers as being non-emotional people who are there to do their job and nothing else. My experience with law enforcement showed me that officers are people just like all of us here. They truly care about the people they serve. Vic and Miguel really got to know us. They were and continue to be there for my family. They were with us during the court proceeding, and we all shared the happiness when all 3 men were convicted and sent to prison for a very long time. It could not have been done without Vic and Miguel really caring about us and their hard work. I can now say we gained 2 good friends who continue to make a difference in people's life. Please join me in supporting all of law enforcement officers today. Thank you.
So we want to thank Vic and Miguel, and a big thanks to Lucy. Give her another hand. So at this time, we're going to have Richard come and give a testimony. Can I have Richard come up? Is there a Richard sighting? Is Richard here? Well, just in case he comes later, I'll just go ahead and have
My family went, we had breakfast with my parents. We came down to church. I went to work to get some paperwork that I needed to do. I was working at a TV station at the time. On Ashland, as we left the TV station, 3-4 lights away from the TV station on Ashland, we were going eastbound. A vehicle, a Camaro going 70 plus miles an hour west, northbound, did not stop, hitting our vehicle on the side where my wife and my 5-year-old Emmanuel were sitting. Sebastian, our 9-year-old, was seated behind me. We were thrown into the canal there at Ashland West. We came to CRMC, where our 9-year-old was declared brain dead. We lost Sebastian. We were approached by Esther Padilla, who many of you will remember Esther Padilla. She is a kidney recipient. She was working for California Transplant Donor Network at the time as a family resource coordinator. That is now my job. I'm actually on call today, and I get to be there with those families and give them information so they can make a decision that will hopefully save lives. We all have the power to save up to 8 lives with our organs and better the lives of up to 75 people with our tissue. So I encourage everybody to say yes to organ donation. More importantly, let your families know if that's what you want to do. Because when I come to them, it's the worst day of their life. Just like Esther did, she came and talked to us about that. My wife is in an ICU bed. My mom says she remembers when we went and spoke with her. Tear came down my wife's eyes and she said yes. It honors us to know that Sebastian's legacy continues. Thank you, a huge thank you to Mike Stanford, an off-duty police officer who was going southbound, and he was stopped at that red light, and he witnessed everything. When I was brought out of that vehicle, called 911. I was just in a car accident. And somebody came up to me and said, "You were just in a car accident, I'll talk to them." Made perfect sense to me. Handed them my phone. I didn't know what happened. I'm sure they did. I went to tend to my family. They were brought out. I hear somebody say, "He's leaving the scene," meaning the driver that hit us. I turned and I was walking toward them. And all of a sudden I felt an arm on my shoulder saying, "I'm an off-duty police officer, I've got him." I don't know what I would have done. So I say thank you to Mike. Thank you to all the officers that were there. Jerry. I don't know where I'd be at that hand, not stopping. Black Lives Matter is a statement of focus, not division, not exclusion. Because Black lives do matter. I learned a lot of history this past week. At work we had a session as to from our history, and we got to see the systemic deficiencies that our systems have. But I say thank you for being there. This is not to divide anybody, to exclude anybody. It's just to say thank you. And I appreciate you. It'll be 13 years this December. And as you can hear, it feels the same. Time doesn't heal wounds. And time doesn't make that gratitude go away either. So thank you.
Thank you. 10 seconds, just do that for me. Thank you. Now I have to do something that's real hard. You were applauding to give me courage. This is not political. Anybody else that gets up today, nothing political can be said. Because that's why we're here. Nothing political can be said. That's why we're here. When you're a leader, you have to make tough decisions. You have to do things that other people don't want to do. Do I want to do what I'm doing right now? No. But we were told in our meeting, nothing political, so I'm not going to let it get political. If anybody gets up and you're sharing, if you get political, Gene is my size. I'm not afraid of anything. I grew up in South Central LA, where the cost of living is going up and the chances of living are going down. I am not afraid to take the mic from you. We are going to make sure that we do not make this political, because that's what the ladies asked me to do, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to honor them. This is not political. So now, obviously Ray Charles couldn't be here, so we got the next best thing.
I just thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here, and I know the enemy is going to try to stop us from doing anything successful. He doesn't want us to do this. I'm from LA too. I was born in LA and raised in Pasadena, sir. Amen. Moved up to Fresno. Amen. 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 And I'd like to say this. I'm from the day when police officers they were allowed, and we should. I wish we could return to this as people. They were allowed to take personal interest in the young people. And I was a young black boy in Pasadena, and there were white police officers that would come up to the school, and they would wait for us to get out of school, and they would take personal interest in us. I remember the man's name, the police officer's name, who took a special interest in me. He said, his name was Dave. I don't know. And he said to me, he says, Larry, he says, when you get to be 15 and a half and go to get your driver's license, you get your permit. He says, you come to the police department and you tell him to call me. He says, I'll come in and I got something special I want to do with you. And you know what it was. He was going to show me all the movies to show me how to be safe and make me, and it was boring to me, but I'm gonna tell you, but it was the fact that they took that time. That officer came in off of his, I don't know if they were allowed to do that. I don't know if they're allowed to do that today, but they came in and they worked for me. Thank you. And he took special time with me. Amen. And the people, my folk, worked with the police department. Can I tell you this before I say it, just right quick? I was 10 years old when they came out with these Baby Ruth's candy bars. I have a problem with Baby Ruth. I have a double, what do you call that, mixed emotions about it? Because they came out with a quarter pounder. You could get sick on that candy. And they cost 20 cents. And my mother gave me money, but I was in the habit of stealing. And I walked in there, we had big pants in them days with big pockets. And I slipped a Baby Ruth in there, and there was a friend with me, and he was too scared to steal. I stole one for him. I put it in my other pocket. And I didn't know that they had these walls with the little peepholes in it, you know, like that. And Mr. Borman, that was the owner of the store in Pasadena. We still knew each other, even though it was a pretty big city. And he was looking right through that little peephole. He saw me put them candy bars in my pocket. And he was waiting at the end of the counter when I came out. You know, I bought 2 penny candy bars. We had penny candy bars back then. I mean, penny candies. And I bought 2 of those, but I wasn't telling him about the Baby Ruth that was in my pocket. And so when I got to the end of the counter, he pointed. He said, "Hey, young man, how you doing?" And he said, "What we got here?" And he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Larry Hutchman." He said, "Oh, I know your mom." Moms were worse than police departments. They was back in that day. You all too young to know about that. But somebody out there in that crowd know I'm telling the truth. Moms could be worse than police departments. And so he said, "I know your mom," and he called her. And my mom immediately went into a plan. She said, "You call the police and tell him to pick him up, and I'll meet him at the police department." She didn't ask him to give me a chance to say anything, because she always told me that the police have got no reason to call you and make up something on you. So I didn't get to say nothing. I didn't know about the Constitution and the rights and all that stuff until I got grown and was able to use them. At home, we didn't have them. That's right. And so she met me down there at the police department, and she walked up to I was in the sergeant's office. I'll never forget it. I am 74 years old, and it is just like it was yesterday. I remember it just like it was, last week. And she walked right up to the police officer as close as I am to this mic, and she says to him, she says, "Can you put him in jail for 3 days?" I'm 10. Start singing, okay. I'm not going to tell you that. You have to see me later to get the rest.